All right, I want to start by thanking our fans for showing up on Saturday and creating a tremendous atmosphere. I think it's the largest home crowd we've had here since 2003, and a ton of positive feedback from our recruits, from our players, and I speak for our staff and our players in saying thank you. Tough loss to a very good Texas team. A lot of missed opportunities in the game, and that's the tough part as you go over it on Sunday and Monday. We played hard, played physical, just didn't execute well enough or play clean enough to win those type of games versus that type of opponent. Quick recap, special teams, I'll start with that. It's a phase that we really needed to win in that contest on Saturday, and I thought it was a push. We didn't lose it, but we didn't win it either. It was a push. Negatives first, we were 1 of 3 on field goals. Those ended up being huge, especially late in the game. Our punt return unit just was not good enough. We did not do a good enough job in our hold-up. We had opportunities to give Sinkfield an opportunity, and our techniques just weren't very good. Our onside, we did not execute our onside kicks at the end of the game. Would have liked to see, if we could have made that interesting right there at the end. And then we had some chances on kickoff return, and we got one positive return, but I thought we had another opportunity, really 2 more opportunities to have big ones, and we didn't finish blocks there. The positives are, I think our punt return, I think Josh is punting the ball well. I know he got some recognition this week, but 0 punt return yards. I don't think we've given up a punt return yard going back to the James Madison game. I thought our kickoff coverage was very good, and as I talked about, the explosive kickoff return. Turning over to defense, talk about the negatives first is our third downs in the first half. Our inability to get off the field really cost us. Didn't like how we finished in the fourth quarter either. Thought we played extremely well late in the third quarter, but not so much in the fourth. And then we've got to be better at sudden changes. Now, hopefully in the future we won't have as many sudden change coming off 4 interceptions like we did last week. But defensively, we've got to be able to put out the fire when you have those type of sudden change opportunities. Positives already had 3 sacks. We limited their big plays. I thought the third quarter was the best we played defensively all year. Our guys flew around, made plays, just really encouraged by how we played in that third quarter. Offensively, the negatives were the interceptions that resulted right in 21 points. I think they had the ball 36 or better, the plus 36 or better on all 3 of those touchdown drives, so really short fields. We played poorly offensively in the third quarter when we had opportunity to take the lead or tie it. Didn't capitalize on Keith's interception. Thought that was a big turning point. And we just weren't good enough on third down. Positives, I thought our pass game was the best it's been all season. Our pass protection was really good. I think it's a credit to our offensive line. Our receivers ran their routes with much more discipline than any time this year. So that's a positive, something to build on. And we had a bunch of explosive plays. In the way we measure them, we had 9. And I was proud of how our guys finished the game. So it was a hard-fought game. I think there were some encouraging things. Disappointed because I thought it was set up for us to pull the win off at home with the crowd, and we didn't get it done. And so there's plenty of blame to go around, and I take my fair share too. So, but want to give you some updates. I know I talked about it. I told you I'd update you on the Giovanni Stewart situation and injuries on Tuesday. As far as Giovanni goes, he has made the decision not to be an active participant, and as a result, he is no longer a member of the team this fall. Sean Ryan had surgery this AM, and upper body injury. No timetable yet on him. I'll update that when I can. Obviously, he'll be out for the next couple games, and I hate it for Sean too because he was starting to play really well. The play he got hurt on, he made a great play. Went up over the top of the DB on a post route, and he'll come back. I feel like he'll be able to play at some point this season. I'm just not sure when. Sam James, I will say, will be questionable. We'll know more later in the week. Probably will be able to give you an update maybe Thursday on the radio show. So as far as injuries go, kind of wrapping up the Texas game, is this is a game we got to learn from and grow from. I like how our guys came attitude-wise on Monday. You know, it's where they were disappointed, but our energy was really good because there were so many positive things in the game, and understanding if we just execute better. You know, if we execute better, do a better job coaching, that we can indeed be a good football team. So I'm excited about this group. I'm excited about us moving forward. So with that, kind of turn the page to Iowa State. They're coming in here off a big win versus TCU, 49-24. Matt Campbell has done a great job building that program. He's in year 4. He is, and really, I'm impressed with all phases what he's done. You know, from recruiting, how they played, how they branded themselves. I think he's done a great job building that program. They play discipline, they play tough football. They're consistent. I mean, just really consistent. I think I saw a stat where going back to 2017, there's been no game where they've lost by more than 14 points. And when you talk about the number of ranked teams you play in our league, I think that's impressive. They haven't lost a game in October going back to 2017. They won their last 8 games in October. And I think that's a sign the team is well coached and they get better as the year goes. Kind of giving you kind of a preview in all the phases. Special teams first. They're sound, really sound. They've had really good success with their kickoff return unit. Do a really good job blocking the punt returner. Number 1, Mitchell, was 3rd team all-conference last year. He's got the ability to make you miss. He's a threat for sure. Kicker's been solid. They're really aggressive on their punt rush team, so that's something that we've got to prepare for. Defensively, unique scheme. Credit to their defensive staff. I think they were really creative a couple of years ago, and it's really kind of spread in college football. But they were the kind of the architects of it, and it's difficult to prepare for. I think they're playing at a high level. If you look at their statistics as you go through this whole year, they're playing really well. They haven't given up a touchdown in the first quarter. They've given up 1 field goal, but they haven't given up a touchdown in the first quarter all year. Been very good against the run. Their defensive line is long. Large number of pass breakups. You don't always see that from the defensive line, but they go 6'6" and 6'7" in one of the defensive end spots, and they do a good job getting hands on the ball. Both their nose tackles they're playing, 58 and 92, are really active. We've got they made a lot of plays, tackles for loss and things like that. And I talked about 5 and 89. Those are the ends that are long. And linebackers, they run really well. I think they're playing at a high level. They allow them to do a bunch of different things. And then multiple coverage looks. You know, a lot of different coverage looks. That's where they're unique. They present some issues for the quarterback because they line up in so many different. The umbrella of the coverage is unique and a lot of different looks. And I think 12 is a big time player. He's what they call their star position. He kind of is the middle safety, and he makes a lot of plays both in the run game and the pass game. So offensively, one of the top offenses in the country. You know, as you look through these guys, the thing that sticks out, they've only had 2 3-and-outs the whole year. The whole year they've had 2 3-and-outs. They're averaging 8.4 yards per play, so they almost get a first down every play. And it all starts with Purdy. You know, I talked about him on the teleconference yesterday. I don't really get into comparisons. You know, we had a couple calls wanting to know about comparing him. The deal is he's special. He's special. He's playing at an extremely high level. I think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the country. I think he will not be under the radar very much longer. He's a dual threat. He's got the ability to run with power. He's got the ability to run with speed. He's active. He throws the deep ball really well. And like I said, I think he's special. He's playing at a high level right now. The tight ends, Kohler and Allen, long guys, and they're productive. And then the receiver number 8, Jones, very similar to the kid at Texas last week. He's in the mid-30s reception-wise. They move him around. He's their go-to guy on 3rd down. So I think that offensively they've done a really nice job. Kind of finishing up, that this is a huge game for us. You know, I know our fans were excited about last week, and this game is every bit just as important, maybe more so. And I thought our crowd was huge last week. We only get 6 opportunities to play in this stadium, and this is another big recruiting weekend for us. it's fall break, so we won't have as many students there. I hope as many as they can, or many as can, will stick around. But we need everyone that can possibly get here to get here. And I think we're on our way to making this one of the best home field advantages in college football. I think it already is established as that, and I think we can continue to make it better. And we need our fans. We need our fans. They were huge last week, and I think they'll be huge this week. And another big-time challenge. I know our guys are excited about it, and I'm excited about it. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Neal, depth, you weren't deep to begin with. You keep sort of taking little chips here and there. Where are you in the concern level in terms of just how deep we are?
I think we wish we were deeper than we are. I think that goes unsaid. I think what we're having to make some adjustments on is how we practice. I don't know if you paid attention when the safeties were out there warming up before they were playing Texas, number 11 team in the country. We had 4 guys warming up in the safety line, so we're too deep and that's it. So that's not ideal. But we're having to adjust some things on how we're practicing. Not going as long. We can't be as physical in practice. A little bit less good on good work, just because of our numbers at certain positions. Secondary obviously, and then on the offensive line as well. Those are two probably the biggest concerns.
You said you're not big into the legislation part of things, but having gone through one of these 4-game deals, is it imperative that coaches sit down now with seniors and talk more in the preseason about try to get a gauge or how happy or how content they are, or does the rule need to be tweaked for another class?
I don't know. I don't think it's probably the best to really speak on it right in the middle of the season. I think for me to give an educated answer, I'd have to sit back and really think about it. And I'm really not at that point right now. I think any rule, there's always unintended consequences. Probably as much as I want to go into it.
With Stewart gone, though, that stands to reason you're going to see a lot more of Tyke Smith. Having had time to see the tape of what he did Saturday, what do you think of the job?
And Tyke, he put himself in a position to play more before that. He's a guy that really, since he came on campus back in early June or late May, infectious attitude, loves football. There's no question. He's passionate about football. Loves the weight room, loves practice, loves meeting, enjoys the grind of it, and that's special. You don't get that all the time, and you can see those guys starting to improve. 2 things happen to a true freshman. Okay, is you get into the season and they really start inclining because they start feeling more comfortable and they start playing at a higher level, or the wear and tear starts wearing on them, and it's more mental than it is physical, and you can see a decline. He's one of these guys that's getting better and better. I thought he played huge. I don't know if you asked me yesterday, but somebody asked me about him on the comp. If the play to me that sticks out in the game more than anything is Duvernay is over in the slot. We zero blitz, and he's one-on-one with, I think he's in the top 5 in the country in receiving yards, or receiving receptions. And he covers him and has a pass breakup down by the band. And that to me that really stood out to me. It showed what kind of competitor he was, how he stepped up in a big moment. I think the game was 21-17 maybe at that time. So, but I'm impressed by him. I think he'll continue to get better as we go.
You mentioned the umbrella coverage that they use. I know the prior staff really talked about some of the unique things. They give you a light box look, but it really doesn't come out. Go through that a little bit. Help me understand that a little better.
Yeah, so they've done a nice job. I don't know the complete history on it. Joe Lee Dunn used to do some similar things. I remember as a player when he was at Mississippi State, and Vic worked with Joe Lee at, he'll say Memphis State, but it's Memphis. I said that when he comes to me. But he worked with him at Memphis, and I know they did some of those things too. But I can remember Joe Lee doing it as a player. But as far as Iowa State staff, I don't know if that's something they were doing at Toledo or what, but they changed the league a little bit by what they're doing. They're playing a lot of 4-eye techniques, head up nose. They're playing a light box where they're presenting a 4 and a 5-man box, but it's really, they're getting, when the ball goes to the belly of the running back, there's really 6 and 7 in the box. So it's really a total false read. And then they're playing 3 high safeties a lot. So they line up with 3 high safeties, and they can get to every single coverage you can possibly imagine from that. They can drop the guy in the hole and play a 2 look. They can drop him straight back and get to a cover 3 look. So it's really multiple, and they do a good job of using the quarterback. So credit to them. You know, it's something that we spend a lot of time on in the summer. You know, and so it's not like we just decided here in the last couple of days what we were going to do. We obviously looked at what they've done through the first 5 games, but we spent a lot of time on them this summer as well.
You know, nowadays when you all spend so much time looking at film, you have analysts and things like that, and you want to be creative, it seems really strange to have something that's unique. I know it's not truly unique to them anymore, but they kind of pull this out of their hat. People are surprised. As a coach, an innovator, whatever you want to think of yourself by yourself, is that kind of fun just to see something like that?
Yeah, I think credit to them, because I think, you know, you look at, you know, there's still explosive offenses in our league, okay? And I think we, as a Big 12, we're still recognized as the top offensive league in the country, and notably so. I mean, the teams that are at the top of our league offensively right now are still at the top in the country. But I think that, you know, a few years ago when they started doing some of this, it's really changed the league. So I'm appreciative of that. As far as is them doing something different and it works. I think they have been unique. And like I said, it's tough. You see, you know, we're such a really copycat society, you know, but copycat football probably more so than anybody. So you see it spread out, you know, like Texas uses a bunch of it last week, so it's helpful to kind of see some of the same coverage looks 2 weeks in a row. Baylor's using some of it. I know I saw them as they played against Iowa State. But it is, when they started doing this, and it's kind of spread, I see Clemson doing it as well. So yeah, I do appreciate the fact that they were the first to do it.
You know, these things have a limited shelf life too. You know,
Yeah.
people eventually adjust to it, but they've been able to stick with this for a while. What they do.
Well, they still get off blocks really well. They tackle really well. You know what I mean? I mean, when it comes down to it, and so I think things do have shelf lives, but if you go watch, you know, I don't know who's top offense in the country right now. Is it Oklahoma? I don't know. I ain't looked at stats. I know it's not us, but I know it's not us, so I don't really look at them when I know we're not close to it. But if you look at it, and I'm using this as an example, okay, is John. So I would, without looking at it, I would probably assume that there's a lot of air raid principles in some of the top offenses. Well, those air raid principles have been around for 20 plus years now, but they're still good plays. And so same with this defensively, even though they've been doing it for a few years, people have been studying it it's still successful because it's really sound. You know, and they've done a good job recruiting guys for that as well.
Neal, you said that Stewart is not on the team this year now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that leaving the door open for next
No,
year?
I'm just dealing with the here and now, honestly.
Given your situation at receiver, how encouraging was TJ's response and his performance?
It was.
Our coach.
Yeah, he's a, you know, that's why I've kind of put him. He's been in kind of a leadership role. You know, he's got a little bit. He's older, but he's a guy that you can coach, you can correct. He doesn't take it personal. He's a guy that you can push. He understands that you have what's best for him in mind. And so I was pleased with how he responded. You know, he had some big plays there across the middle. The other thing too is, if you look over our last 3 games, we blocked on the perimeter really well, and he set the standard for that. The other encouraging thing, Mike, was Bryce Wheaton.